Last night, I went back and I read a couple of speeches, and maybe tomorrow we're going to go through them. But I read the 1981 first inaugural speech of Ronald Reagan, and then I read the 33 first inaugural speech from FDR. That's the famous one. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. And both of them have something in common. They're uniquely different. FDR just talks about the corruption and how the government needs to, get involved and control things, where Ronald Reagan said the exact opposite. But they both talked about fear. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Now, he wasn't talking about the fear of a distant enemy. He was talking about the fear that we had that we would never be the same, that we would never recover. Okay, so this is the thing that we really need to conquer here. And this COVID-19 talk is not helping us. I mean, I read stories every single day, all the time, that say, we should be in for the next year. We should be in for the next 2 years. Well, airplane travel is a thing of the past. We're not going back to the skies. What are you, crazy? Let me flip this around. One of my favorite stories today is Tom Cruise and Elon Musk are in talks right now to shoot the first movie in space. Thank you. That's who we are. That's who we are. And I spent 10 minutes just thinking, only Tom Cruise. Only Tom Cruise. And he could be sucked out of an airlock. And he'll be like, no, I gotta do it myself. No stunt double. You just want me to open my helmet shield outside? Okay, I'll give it a shot. Let's get it in one take. That's who we are. We're explorers. We are not people that sit around on our hands. And that is just one of the problems that is currently happening in the United States. First of all, we've got to get rid of the fear. What happened in 2008? In 2008, we had the fear that the entire thing's going to be shut down. And so what did we do? We ran to TARP. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. What did we do after 9/11? We were fearful. So we ran immediately to the government and got the Patriot Act. Huge mistake. Can we stop repeating the pattern? We've got to stop repeating the pattern. And the pattern is the government takes more control because you have fear and you want someone to protect you. Now, I want to play this audio from Nancy Pelosi, who was talking with CNN and Wolf Blitzer. Wolfie was on to talk about some tax cuts, a payroll tax cut. Everyone would get a payroll tax cut. The reason why a lot of people in Washington don't want a payroll tax cut is because once you see how much you are actually making and earning every single month, trying to get that baby and that genie back into the bottle is going to be really difficult. But that's not why Nancy Pelosi doesn't want it. Here she is trying to explain. Listen.
Is a payroll tax cut okay from your point of view,
No,
or is it a non-starter?
No, it is not.
And if it is a non-starter, Madam Speaker, why is a payroll tax cut a non-starter?
First of all, this is all to be related to the coronavirus. We have enormous cost. Much of it incurred because the president was in denial early on.
Okay, so we got the blame Trump down.
Reaction to it caused deaths.
But what's wrong with the payroll tax?
What's right with we have $500 billion for state. 250, maybe 300 billion for local. This is a way for us. This is a way for us to address the situation. There are other things: direct payment, unemployment insurance, issues like PPP. There's a great deal of money that is being put out there.
Okay. So let me ask you something, Stu.
Yes.
If I had a shovel and we were out digging a ditch and I was holding a shovel, how much sense would it make if we were really in a crisis and we really needed to get things done to hire someone to take my shovel, cut a little bit of the handle off of that shovel, then give it to you. You cut a little bit of the handle off and then hand it back to me. Does that make any sense at all?
It seems suboptimal, Glenn.
Yeah, it does, okay? We all have the shovel. We all have the money that they're trying to give us, okay? They're taking it from us, taking a little bit out, giving it to somebody else who will also take a little bit out, and then handing it back to us. What the hell is that? That doesn't make sense. You know what that does? That diminishes your dollar. It diminishes what you have, and it gives the power to the people that we have to look at and go, can we just get our damn shovel back, please?
It also gives them
empowers them.
And it gives them the opportunity to take the piece of the handle that they've taken from our shovel and give it to some other random ditch digger somewhere else, right? They get to redistribute it to whatever design they're going for.
And then say, I'm going to give that to these other people here who have no shovels, and then they'll give them that piece of the handle that is not a shovel, it's just a piece of a handle, and say, you know why you don't have a shovel? Because these people over here are all hoarding the shovels. It doesn't make any sense. No sense. Fear makes us do these things. Fear. And wanting somebody in charge. Well, you're in charge. Welcome to America. You're in charge. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now, let's go back 2008. What happened? Well, we let somebody else be in charge, take the shovel. They took our shovel, they cut about half the handle off and said, we're going to help people. They gave that half and many of the shovels to the banking system and said, okay, now it's fixed. Now they're not afraid. Well, no, they were afraid because we no longer had shovels. So they were like, I can't give this person a loan. How's he going to make any money? He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a shovel. Oh, okay. So what did they do? Because of their fear of us, they were like, you know what? I'd rather invest this money someplace else. I'm going to make it a little harder to get loans. Okay. All right. Now, since this bailout, Chase is now requiring a credit score of at least 700 for all new home loans. They're one of the financial institutions also now requiring at least 20% down. So you have to have a credit score of 700 and at least 20% down. Okay, well, maybe that's what we should have been the whole time. I don't know. I know that because of the government who wants to give pieces of shovels to everybody, they've made it really easy to get loans. And so what happens? You make it too easy. Oh, you don't need any ID. You don't even need a job. You want a house? Here's one in Beverly Hills. Okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. Now, Chase didn't disclose the previous down payments, but records show it used to be about 6% down. So you could put 6% down. Well, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I remember when 10% loans, where you had to put 10% down, that was a good deal. 20% was usual. I think when I was growing up, it may have been 30%. So the home that you have purchased or the mortgage that you have or the loan, would you have been approved under the new Chase standards? No. And Chase isn't the only one. Everybody's doing this. Why? Because they are afraid that you're not going to have a job. They're going to be stuck with a bill. Okay. All right. Equity homes or equity loans are getting even harder to get. Now, this is going to have a dramatic impact on the U.S. economy because not only are the consolidation loans, but credit cards are getting harder to get. They're lowering the limits now on what you can spend. They're upping the interest rates. And they're canceling some cards. Some cards are just being canceled without any notice. They're just canceling them. All right, well, that's a problem because we're a consumer-driven economy. Remember, we don't create anything. We're the buyers of everything. As designed, not by you, not by me, but by our government. So when we open up the economy, how fast are you going to a concert? How fast are you going to a crowded restaurant? And why? Why? What is the coronavirus like in your town? What is the coronavirus like in your state? If you're living in New York, I get it. If you're living in New York City, I get it. But if you're living someplace in the middle of the country, why? Can you imagine? Can you imagine if the coronavirus would have killed, 20% of the population of Des Moines, Iowa? Do you think that New York City would be closed? Do you think New York City would have closed everything because there was a pandemic in Des Moines, Iowa? No. So why is Des Moines, Iowa closed? Because there's a massive pandemic in New York. New York would not have closed for a pandemic in any small town in America. It could have wiped everybody out in Lubbock, Texas, and they still would be open today. So why is it reversed? Why is it reversed? Why are we closing all of America down? Why don't we have any kind of local control when people are struggling? They're opening now in California, willing to go to jail because they're like, jail is better than living under a bridge. And you know what's crazy? All of these states are opening up their jails. Did you hear in California, the guy who was arrested 3 times? 3 times yesterday he was arrested. 3 times you're right. 3 strikes you're out. Isn't that California? No, not anymore. Guy was arrested yesterday 3 times. But because they decided, no bail, they took him to the station house. He went out. He committed another crime. They caught him. He took him to the station house. He got out. He committed another crime. He took him to the station house. He got out. Well, so we're taking people who are just trying to stay in business, and we are taking them and throwing them in jail. A jail where they say the coronavirus is rampant, so we have to let all these criminals out. And you're taking people who aren't criminals, who are just trying to survive, and you're putting them in jail. When did the world go mad? And when did America forget the only thing we have to fear is fear itself? When did America forget who we are? That we are the people that went to the moon. We are the people that crossed the Rocky Mountains. If you've never driven across the Rocky Mountains, you must do it. You must do it. You're probably going to do it because God only knows when the airlines are going to open up again. And God only knows when people are going to be willing to get onto a flight again. But cross the Rocky Mountains, because my son and I did it last summer. And we drove and we drove and we joked the entire way. So if you were a pioneer and you didn't know how far this mountain range was going or what was on the other side even, tell me where you'd stop. We both said Denver. That's as far. Actually, I said the Missouri River, but we didn't drive over the Missouri River. I would have looked at the river and went, have fun, guys. If I would have crossed the Missouri River, I definitely would have stopped at Denver. Nice place. Look at the mountain. No, I don't think so. Then if you decided to go up to over the mountain, you get to the first peak to where you think, oh, man, I just got to get over this peak. Then you see a sea of peaks. Then you're like, that's the place I would have killed the guy who convinced me to go over the mountain because now it's too late. That's who we are. Not the me's, the ones who actually crossed it. We need to convince our leadership to sit down, shut up while the people lead. Because we're not afraid. And quite honestly, they're not afraid of us.